Welcome to Anime Star Recaps. Do not forget to subscribe and like the video for more. A boy named Yu Arasaka, who has the power to briefly possess anyone in his field of view for 5 seconds, abuses this ability by peeking at other students' exam answers. He succeeds in getting into the elite Hinamori High School, where he uses his power to impress and save Yumi Shirayanagi. Yoshiyuki Miura, the president of the student council, notices Yu's perfect grades and challenges him to repeat the test on his own or risk being expelled for cheating. This turns out to be a trap set by Naotomori, a girl who has been watching him use his powers in secret. Yu tries to get away but is stopped by Jijiro Takajo, who can move at incredibly fast speeds, and is then beaten up by Nao, who can turn invisible to a specified target. Nao then transfers Yu and his younger sister Ayumi Arasaka to Hoshinami Academy, a school for students with powers similar to his. Yu, who is dumped by Yumi, prepares reluctantly for his new life as a member of the student council at Hoshinami Academy. As a member of the student council, Yu has the duty of protecting the students who have special powers. After showing Yu his teleportation power while getting some sandwiches from the cafeteria for lunch, Jijiro appears to get injured. He informs Yu that because of Nao's ability to selectively become invisible, she has no female friends. Takedo Kumagami, a boy who has the ability to recognize persons who possess special skills, directs Yu, Nao, and Jurton and the high school. The trio catches a student named Yudo who creates X-ray images of women in their underwear, who sells them for a profit to help his sick parents. Yudo agrees to quit using his power after they threaten him. The following day, Nao brings Yu to see her older brother, musician Kazuki Tomori, who was subjected to experiments because of his ability to control sound waves and has since become unstable and insane. Nao reveals that she was able to save her brother from the school that experimented on him because of a secret person she trusts. Jijiro risks getting hurt by using his teleportation skill to find the tastiest beef curry for Yu as they eat lunch at the cafeteria. To find a user with 2 abilities, they meet popular singing idol, Yusa Nishimori, who is being chased. The 3 capture her pursuer, later discovering that Yusa is a medium, frequently being overtaken by her deceased older sister Misakura, who can control fire. Yusa explains that she was chased because she carried a television producer's phone home by accident, which contains embarrassing information about him. Nao comes up with a terrifying plan to deal with the TV producer. That evening, Misa confronts the TV producer while pretending to be Yusa. She persuades the television producer to leave Yusa alone with the assistance of the others and gives him back the phone. When Sho expresses his affections to Misei, she tells him to have his own life and thanks him for everything. Later, Nao sets up Yusa's transfer to Hoshinami Academy. After Yusa's switch to Yu's class, Nao takes Yusa and the boys to their 3rd mission in Kanai Academy, where a student is thought to possess telekinesis. Nao shows them video of baseball pitcher Arifumi Fukuyama, who uses his ability rather than his grip to throw knuckleballs. When they confront Arifumi, he won't stop using his talent. Nao arranges a baseball game between the baseball teams from the 2 academies, with the condition that Arifumi must refrain from using his power if Hoshinami Academy wins. The scores for the 2 teams are tied after 8 innings. Yu smacks a few foul balls in the 9th inning, and Misa sprints from second base to home plate. Later, Hoshinami defeats Kanai. Arifumi confesses that he solely uses his talent to assist Takato, the team's catcher and his best buddy, so he can reach the Pro League. When the others reassure Arifumi that he can still help Takato, he accepts to give up his power. When the student council hears about a user who can fly, they set up camp in the mountains where the user has been practicing his flight ability. The first 2 evenings, Yusa discusses her close friendship with Misa with the other group members, and now shares with Yu her dream of recording her favorite band, Jeaned, with Yu. Later, Jijiro informs Yu that their powers will only exist for another 2 years. The ability user Sato confronts the student council the day after and threatens to make them leave, but Nao calls his threat a bluff. Then Sato takes Nao's camcorder and tries to flee by flying away. Sato is, however, stopped by Yu, and Nao persuades Sato to give up his power. When Yu gets home in the evening, he sees Ayumi having dinner while appearing to have a cold. While Ayumi tries to recover at home, the student council learns of a student who has the power to collapse in a condo building. Nao deduces that Ayumi has gained this ability because only a sick student would be coming home from school at that time of day. Yu, Nao, and Yusa come to visit Ayumi for supper. She is later tucked into bed. And worried, Nao orders Yu to advise Ayumi to stay at home for 1 more day when Yu discovers that Ayumi had a dream about the ground suddenly cracking. Ayumi sneaks out and goes to school even though her temperature has dropped. After Namura stops Oikawa from speaking to Ayumi in the hallway, Kenichi approaches Ayumi with a box cutter and claims that Ayumi stole Oikawa from her. As she is forced into a corner, Ayumi uses her power, which causes the school building to collapse around her. As he desperately searches the wreckage for his sister, Yu is struck unconscious. When Yu awakens in a hospital, he finds out that Ayumi died in the school accident. When Jijiro and Yusa pay him a visit, he withdraws into despair and shows little interest. Yumi stops by as well and expresses concern, but he declines her help. Yu flees after government officers arrive at his place and seeks refuge in a manga cafe. He later uses his powers to pick battles with gangs and becomes increasingly unstable over time. Now, who has been secretly watching him the entire time, intervenes before he starts using drugs. As part of a bet, now serves Yu a plate of omuris, which Ayumi had been attempting to perfect using his mother's recipe. Yu admits that he lost the bet and makes the decision to go back to the student council alongside Now and work hard there in honor of his sister. After Jijiro and Yusa have welcomed Yu back to school, the student council gathers to watch Yusa's most recent music video. Since Jijiro and Yusa aren't interested, Now invites Yu to go with her to a Jin concert. Later on that day, Yu runs across Sala Shane, the blind singer for Jin, who buys him okonomiyaki at a restaurant. Sala later explains that she overcame her blindness to reach to where she is now. Then she assists Yu in lighting incense on the shrine to show respect for the passing of Ayumi. Yu brings Sala to visit Kazuki in the hospital, where she sings one of her uplifting songs to him in an attempt to calm his anger. Following Sala's departure, Now thanks Yu for assisting in Kazuki's recovery, and Yu ponder over why he is feeling so nostalgic about Jin's music. Yu experiences a similar feeling while listening to what is meant to be a brand new song at the Jin performance with Now. He has an odd memory of Ayumi and him living in a research facility in a different parallel reality, where they were being observed for their skills. After Ayumi's collapsibility damaged the building, Tsutsumiyachi, a nonconformist scientist, assisted Yu in escaping and advised him to use his true power, which is to steal other people's abilities. Yu ultimately finds his brother Shunsuke Atasaka, who can time travel. Yu awakens and finds himself back in the present. Kumagami then approaches Yu and Now and leads them to a hidden underground hideout where they meet Shunsuke. In the past, ability users Shunsuke, Kumagami, and their allies Madoki and Midamori worked to create a way to safeguard power users from researchers with sinister motives. Each time Shunsuke time leaped, his eyesight became more blurry. Shunsuke used his vision of creating a safe haven to purchase an education institution to serve as a school after one final leap left him blind, which is now Hashinami Academy. Yu and Ayumi were hypnotized and memory wiped by Madoki as part of Shunsuke's plan to keep them safe. Shunsuke gives Yu instructions in the present to use his time-leaping ability to go back to the day before Ayumi passed away. Ayumi's collapse power is immediately stolen by Yu, preventing an accidental use. Later, Yu and Now utilize their abilities to frighten Kanishi away from Ayumi so that she cannot hurt her. Finally secure, Kumagami brings Ayumi and Yu to Shunsuke. Yu is urged by Shunsuke to remain with Ayumi at the secure base until his powers vanish. Tsutsumiyachi says in the research facility that the short-period comet Charlotte, which passes Earth every 75 years, spreads particles that give people their unique powers. A vaccination is being developed in preparation for the comet's next visit. A bunch of international terrorists scare Furuki, Shunsuke's assistant, into giving Kumagami to them in a factory. In order to learn more about ability users, the terrorists torture Kumagami. This allows the terrorists to hold Now and Kumagami as hostages in exchange for Yu. Yu rushes to the factory to take back Now and Kumagami after securing the safety of Furuki's family, but he is ambushed by a female ability user who cuts his right eye, preventing him from time traveling. Yu uses his ability to collapse, destroying the facility on top of everyone. Kumagami gets wounded by a metal pipe while protecting Now from the debris. Yu uses telekinesis to shelter himself and the female ability user. In the hospital, Yu awakens to find Madoki and Midamori by his bedside. He finds out that Kumagami passed away tragically and that he lost his right eye. Additionally, Yu gives Misa the chance to show her respect for her parents while she still has the chance when Yusa conducts a television meal segment on their family restaurant. After Shunsuke warns that terrorist attacks against Japan are coming, Now advises Yu to leave the country in order to steal the abilities of all ability users worldwide, even if doing so could put his sanity at risk. He agrees to the challenge, confesses his love to her, and the two of them agree that he will return home without difficulty. She offers for him to steal her talent so she can lead a regular life. Then he steals Jijiro's, Yusa's, and Misei's powers. Nissa then writes Yusa a letter about how much fun she had with everyone. Yu accepts some foreign language flashcards from Now in exchange for her MP3 player, which he returns with a promise to return to her after the task is completed. Starting his trip in the Philippines, Yu steals the power to seek out other users and gradually begins stealing their skills from each person he encounters, giving him the dreaded nickname One-Eyed Grim Reaper. He acquires the skill to identify persons with dormant abilities at a military facility that preys on adolescent ability users, and uses a disease-worsening ability to speed up the development of the powers in order to loot them. As he visits other nations, he starts to experience immense stress and is on the verge of going insane from having so much power, but seeing Now's flashcards keeps him from losing control. Yu is gravely hurt when a male bounty hunter attacks him after he finds the last living ability user in China. A girl jumps in front of him to save him, so he uses telekinesis to save the young female and last ability user before being rescued by Shunsuke. Yu, who has lost his memory, awakens in a Japanese hospital with Now by his side. Now reveals to him that they are in a relationship and thanks him for honoring their vow in the flashcards after all this time. Yu, Now, Jijiro, Yusa, and Ayumi look forward to the memories they will build now that there are no other ability users in the world. The last number of your like is who powers you get. Comment who you got. Don't forget to subscribe for more anime recaps.